Welcome back to Crimebot Chronicles. Subscribe now and join us as we uncover some of the darkest and most chilling true crime mysteries from around the world. Did you know that every 40 seconds, a child goes missing somewhere in the world? And yet, few cases have gripped global attention quite like that of Madeleine McCann. Her disappearance isn't just a mystery, it's a wound that never fully closed. On the night of May 3, 2007, a 3-year-old British girl named Madeleine McCann vanished from a holiday apartment in Praia de Luz, Portugal. Her parents, Kate and Gerry McCann, were dining just 50 meters away at a tapas restaurant with friends. What followed was not only an international search effort but also one of the most publicized and polarizing investigations in modern history. The case became a media storm almost overnight. Within days, her photograph was broadcast worldwide. Blonde hair, bright eyes, a small child who vanished without a trace. But how could a child disappear from her bed in a quiet seaside resort with no witnesses, no signs of struggle, and no concrete leads? The local Portuguese police, known as the Polícia Judiciária, initially believed Madeleine had wandered off. But that theory was soon abandoned. Witness reports began pouring in. One man said he saw someone carrying a child that night. Others suggested the window shutters of the apartment were tampered with. Then came speculation: was it a kidnapping, human trafficking, or something far worse? From the beginning, the investigation was plagued with complications. The crime scene was not sealed off promptly, and countless people walked in and out, possibly contaminating crucial evidence. Investigators failed to collect fingerprints properly and did not immediately treat the apartment as a potential abduction scene. Eyewitness testimonies conflicted, and leads began to fade. And then, in a stunning twist, suspicion turned toward Madeleine's own parents. Kate and Gerry were named arguidos, formal suspects, by Portuguese police. But a pair of British sniffer dogs brought to Portugal reportedly picked up the scent of blood and human decomposition in the McCann's rental car and on some of Madeleine's belongings. The public was divided. Could these grieving parents have done the unthinkable? "We would never harm our daughter," Gerry McCann said in a 2007 interview. "We are desperate to find her." British media picked sides, while tabloids ran wild with theories. Some claimed the McCanns sedated their children so they could dine in peace. Others said it was an accident covered up in panic. But there was no hard evidence to support any of these claims. DNA tests were inconclusive. The McCanns were eventually cleared as suspects. The online world became a battlefield. Forums were filled with armchair detectives dissecting every photo, every movement, every inconsistency. The phrase, Tapas 7, the group of friends who dined with the McCanns that night, became shorthand in digital conspiracy spaces. Some believed one of them knew more than they admitted. In 2008, Portuguese authorities closed the case, citing a lack of evidence. But Madeleine's disappearance didn't fade from the public eye. Far from it. In 2011, Scotland Yard launched Operation Grange, a new investigation into Madeleine's disappearance. Over the next decade, they sifted through over 40,000 documents, re-interviewed hundreds of witnesses, and explored countless leads. This wasn't just a review, it was a forensic re-examination of every second of that fateful night. Detective Chief Inspector Andy Redwood said in a BBC interview, "We are trying to bring a fresh perspective to the case. We believe there is still a possibility that Madeleine is alive." Investigators reconstructed the night in exacting detail. They explored the apartment layout, timing of check-ins by the parents, and possible escape routes. New EFIT images were released of potential suspects. The McCanns even released age-progressed photos, clinging to the hope that their daughter was still alive. Then, in June 2020, a bombshell. German authorities announced they had a new suspect, Christian Brueckner, a 43-year-old convicted sex offender with a history of child abuse. He had been living in a camper van near Praia de Luz in 2007. Brueckner was already serving time in a German prison for unrelated crimes. Authorities claimed they had concrete evidence he was involved in Madeleine's disappearance, though they refused to reveal what that evidence was. Hans Christian Wolters, German prosecutor: "We are confident that Christian B. is the man responsible. But we still need more proof before we can charge him." It was revealed Brueckner's mobile phone was traced to the vicinity of the resort the night Madeleine disappeared. A call he received that night, shortly before she went missing, was traced back to a known criminal associate. German police began excavating properties he had once owned, but nothing definitive was found. This was the most promising lead in over a decade. But even this has stalled. Despite being declared a formal suspect in 2022, no charges have been filed. Brueckner maintains his innocence and denies any involvement. Meanwhile, the McCanns cling to hope. Every May, they release a statement urging the public not to forget their daughter. Kate McCann, it's about finding Madeleine. We will never give up. The mystery remains. How does a little girl disappear from her bed in a secure apartment complex with her siblings sleeping just feet away? Was it a meticulously planned abduction? A random act? Or a terrible accident buried by silence? In a 2023 special report by investigative journalist Louise Baxter, new light was shed on inconsistencies in the original witness statements. According to Baxter's findings, several locals claimed to have seen a strange man loitering near the apartment complex days before Madeleine vanished. But their statements were dismissed early in the investigation. One Portuguese woman, who requested anonymity, said she had seen a man repeatedly watching children from a white van parked just outside the resort. She reported it to local police, but was told she was overreacting. That van was never traced. There are also growing suspicions about how Portuguese and British authorities shared, or failed to share, vital information. A former Scotland Yard analyst revealed under the condition of anonymity that crucial files were never properly translated or shared, potentially leading to missed connections. We were working with incomplete data. Important witness reports were either lost in translation or withheld altogether. It hindered our timeline reconstruction significantly. The timeline remains filled with haunting questions. Why were no signs of forced entry found? Who was the man spotted carrying a child that night? Why did it take over 12 hours to issue an international alert? Why were leads dismissed prematurely by local police? Thousands of tips, hundreds of sightings, psychics, private investigators, documentaries, and still no resolution. Over the years, fake sightings of Madeleine popped up from Morocco to Australia, each one raising hopes and then shattering them. Some were even hoaxes, cruel attempts to gain attention or money. The case became the subject of books, TV specials, podcasts, and Netflix documentaries. Each new theory reignited public interest. Some questioned the motives of the parents. Others focused on sex trafficking rings operating in southern Europe. Some pointed to a series of break-ins at neighboring resorts by known offenders. And the media's role? A double-edged sword. On one hand, global awareness. On the other, sensationalism and false accusations. Some outlets paid huge damages to the McCanns for libel. The pressure of public scrutiny added immense psychological stress to a grieving family. Dr. Carol Lieberman, forensic psychologist, the intense media attention may have actually hindered the investigation. In a case like this, when everyone becomes a suspect, even the truth becomes harder to see. Fear crept into the hearts of parents everywhere. If a child can vanish so completely in a holiday resort, are any of us truly safe? What systems failed that night, and have they improved since? In 2014, British investigators revealed they had identified several persons of interest, but none resulted in arrests. Portuguese and British police cooperation had also suffered due to jurisdictional differences and finger-pointing. At times, it felt less like a joint effort and more like competing investigations. Behind the headlines lies a somber reality. Madeleine McCann is still missing. No body, no confession, no closure. And what about Christian Brueckner? Is he a scapegoat or the missing link? Without formal charges, the questions linger. Will this case ever see justice? Or has time buried the truth beneath layers of conflicting evidence and bureaucratic failure? The story of Madeleine McCann is no longer just about a missing child. It's about the fragile systems meant to protect the innocent. It's about the dangerous intersection of tragedy and media. It's about a family living with unimaginable grief and a world desperate for answers. Thanks for watching CrimeBot Chronicles. If this story moved you, Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think we'll ever find out what really happened to Madeleine McCann? Subscribe for more true crime deep dives. Like, share this video, and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.